Batman v Superman is the superhero cinematic clash of the decade, or at least until Captain America Civil War comes out. With me is Rich Trenholm.
Hello.
We've both seen the new movie and we're going to find out what Rich thinks as our resident movie critic. Rich, Batman vs Superman is the biggest superhero clash. Does it deliver on that cinematic spectacle?
Yes and no. In terms of like sheer scale, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge movie with loads going on. There's hugely cinematic battles and set pieces, and the conflicts are like between these towering godlike characters. Whether it hangs together as like a coherent whole is another matter. There's so much stuff going on in there, and there's even so much set up for future movies that it's a bit of a mess. It's a glorious mess, but it's a bit of a mess.
Now, this is the first time that we've seen this incarnation of Batman, this time played by Ben Affleck. How does Ben do, and what do we think of this Batman?
I really like Batfleck, actually. Yeah, I think he does really well. One of the things that I kind of came out afterwards, and I realised that I hadn't thought about the Dark Knight movies all the way through. So because it's so visually distinctive, and Ben Affleck does such a good job of selling the kind of jaded, cynical, world-weary, older Bruce Wayne. So this is a very positive first outing for Ben Affleck straight out the gate. That said, this is not the Batman of your childhood. It's a very, very dark take on the character.
Okay, so that's interesting. Is this, I mean, this obviously superheroes enjoyed by all ages.
Yeah.
Is this something that you should take kids to?
No, no. It's I mean, it's a very, very violent movie, and not just that, but it's like really unremittingly, unrelentingly bleak. Like Superman and Batman, these characters who have been these sort of fantasy figures that have delighted and inspired kids for like the best part of a century. They're presented as these very, very kind of brooding, conflicted, troubled, and very scary characters. And they live in a very scary world where random, pointless, awful, horrible mass destruction can happen at any time. So it's a very, if you want to tell your kids that bad things happen to good people, then just let Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck take care of it for you.
Thanks, guys, for doing all that parenting.
Exactly. Yeah.
So obviously, this film is going to be compared a lot to the Avengers, Marvel's Avengers. Is that a fair comparison? What do you think?
I think the problem that they have is that while Marvel took 5 movies to get to the Avengers to have a bunch of superheroes all in together in a shared universe, DC's had to really race to get all these characters in there. So there's so many kind of new faces, and it does assume a lot of knowledge actually when you see all these random people popping in who aren't actually relevant to the main story. I really enjoyed it as a sort of as an adult comics fan, but I don't know if they've got just the same kind of joy that Marvel movies have. Is it too much to ask for a bit of escapism with our capes?
Escapism, if you will. That's pretty good. All right, well, that's what Rich thought, but let us know what you think as well, guys. If you've seen it, drop us a note. Although, keep spoilers out of the comments. Come on, don't be that guy. All right, thanks very much. Stay tuned to CNET.